Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Barry Erickson, and I'm Community Engagement Coordinator here at Wheaton Public Library. Tonight, we are delighted to bring you another art demonstration provided in partnership with the DuPage Art League. Founded over 60 years ago, the DuPage Art League is dedicated to promoting and encouraging the visual arts through classes, workshops, gallery exhibits, and public programs such as this one. We are grateful to the DuPage Art League for arranging tonight's demonstration by artist Pamela Hamilton. Pam is an award-winning pastel artist and a master pastelist with the International Association of Pastel Societies, as well as a signature member of the Pastel Society of America and the Chicago Pastel Painters. She studied at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and after a career as art director of Country Sampler magazine, transitioned to full-time fine art in 2012, earning national recognition for her luminous pastel work. She's been featured in International Artist magazine and twice instructed for Streamline Publishing's virtual art conference, Pastel Live. Pam conducts weekly pastel classes from her Geneva studio. Tonight, she will be demonstrating her process for creating a spring floral in soft pastel. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Pam.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Pam Hamilton. I'm really happy to be here tonight, and welcome everybody out here in person and everybody in virtual land. I don't know what all you want me to talk about. I just jump into it, or okay. I brought some samples of some finished pieces of work. Well, today I'm gonna work on painting this floral that you see on the iPad, and my goal is not to do photorealism, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I'll show you some of my pieces that I brought along. The glare okay? Okay. That made it worse. Okay. These are some tulips that I painted on Canson Mitons paper. The paper is red, and the reference is there's a place in Geneva called, well, it's a home on Fargo Boulevard, and all the local people know this as the tulips on Fargo. And thousands of people come and line up and down Fargo Boulevard and take pictures of these tulips every year. So I took the multiple pictures that day, and it was towards sunset, so everything was really illuminated. So I really love this piece. This was my highest performing piece ever on social media. I'll just move this over and better if it's up a little bit, maybe. Yeah. Okay. All the photos I've taken, I only work for my own references. This was a zinnia growing in my yard, and I'm just fascinated by bees. And of course, because I'm an avid flower gardener, I'm very protective of the pollinators, butterflies, and bees. And the fun thing with this piece is these little bits of honeycomb, and I used a stencil for that, which I had never done with pastels before. And there was actually going to be a series. There were two that I painted. One of them was used on the publicity for the show tonight, but that one was sold, so I just brought this one along. But the paper on this one is actually brown. You can see little bits on the edge of it. So I use all different kinds of paper. I feel with pastels, you're never going to get bored because there's so many opportunities to try so many different things. Let's see, we'll do this little one next since it's right here. Yeah, that's good. This is a house finch, and it didn't have this nice of a background on it when I took the picture, but this is in the background, there's some flowering quince. So I kind of took two photos together in Photoshop and mocked it up to the way I wanted to paint it. And birds are one of my favorite subjects to paint, and especially when you can incorporate, some florals or foliage in the background. This one I think is painted on UArt. papers. Anybody that knows, okay, keep my head on the way. Anybody that knows pastels knows a lot of the different papers. So this particular one is sanded. I think it's a 400 grit. The fourth and final one that I brought with. That one's got a little bit more glare. I apologize for that. These are also, these are purple cone flowers also from my garden. And I don't know, oh, I moved my head out of the way. You can see a little variation, a little bits of the paper showing here. I used a watercolor underpainting on this one, meaning that I did watercolor first, and then after it was dry, I applied pastels over the top. And I like to be able to see some of these drips. I think it gives it kind of a more modern look, but still the realism that I like. So, I mean, my goal is impressionism. And, you know, like back here, there's just like a suggestion of other flowers and things going on. Questions? Are you guys, you ready for me to? Okay. That okay? My head's, oh. Okay. It's altering the color a lot, but that's just from the reflection. Anyway, also a peony from my garden. Oftentimes, probably the majority of times before I paint anything, I'll take my reference into Photoshop and I'll monkey around with it. And so this one, I really darkened the background, partially because I'm gonna paint on dark paper, but I think it isolates or silhouettes the focal point. I always tell my students, if the photo isn't good, don't bother painting it, you know, because you're not going to get a good painting if you don't have a good reference. So I usually, if I feel it's meritable to work from, then I'll just play around with it until I get it the way I like the reference. And it was cropped down a bunch of times. Okay. Everybody ready? All right, I'm going to do a little different approach. I'm not going to do any kind of wet medium. I'm just going to kind of really roughly sketch in, really roughly, this main flower. And then I'm going to use some pan pastels just to, it kind of speeds up the process a little bit and makes me feel more like I'm painting. That's really all I need to do for that. Okay. I'll hold these up so that you can see them for anybody that's not familiar with pan pastels. I think I have brought 24 colors with just different shades of greens and reds. And I will dip my tool into multiple colors. And this tool is called a soft tool. It's kind of like applying makeup, for lack of a better description.
Excuse me, Pam, someone from home is asking, what type of paper are you using for the demonstration?
Yeah, this is, there's Pastel Matte, which some of you might be familiar with, that's made by Claire Fontaine. This is not that. I found this on Amazon. The company is I can't remember, I don't know if this is any So Mime, I think. And no, it's their own, I think it's an Asian brand, but it's much more affordable, but it's still acid-free and archival, but it's very soft, but even though it's soft, it's still toothy. And this particular pad comes with all these different colors, lots of dark colors, but I'm really, really liking it. So that's what I'm working on. Oftentimes I work on UArt. I just brought that just to talk about the papers, but I am working on this.
And forgive me if you already said, what type of pastel pencil are you using for the sketch?
That was a Stabilo Carpothello. Okay, so I'm just real quick and blocking in these, the reds. I don't want really any detail. I just want to get the basic shapes here. Just so you can kind of see what, what I'm doing so far. Maybe I should stand a little bit more here for a second. I have to get back over here. My perspective's going to be wrong. Okay, so that's just kind of, so I have a sort of a roadmap of where I'm going, and then I'm just going to put, I don't want a lot of detail back here, but just a suggestion that there's something else going on. Okay. Same with this. I don't want to get very far in the process with the background at this point, but I just want to kind of indicate.
We have another question here from our in-person
Yep.
audience.
I'm very unfamiliar with pastels. Can you please explain the brush you're using?
Oh, this is a soft tool. It is made by the Pan Pastel. It's part of the same. It's the same manufacturer. It's like a plastic handle with a foam. It's real similar to a makeup applicator. I don't wash them or anything. I just like wipe them off on a paper towel. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. All right, is there a camera for the box? Those are my pencils that I brought, kind of an assortment of. I won't use much of them, but every once in a while I want them for a little detail, so I just brought what I have. Okay, and then, yeah, the pastel box. I'm actually I'll move that a little closer to me. So I have a assortment of brands, and I basically just filled this afternoon with colors specific to what I'm going to paint. And these are separated because this is my current crush. These pastels are, they're made by Earthberry. They come from Russia. They're just fantastic, and they're wide and narrow all at the same time. So it's like 3 different brush sizes. You turn it all around, and I use them for everything now. They're just so nice. They're gritty and soft, and they're just really, you'll see me use them, but really just wonderful pastels. So I'm just gonna, as I go, just kind of pull out colors. And I'll try to hold them up when I can. Okay, we go back up to can I angle this somehow so that it's better, or my head's smack dab in the middle? Which way do I have to? Is that better? Okay. Okay. All right, so this is a pretty dark base. I always work dark to light, kind of like oil painting, thin to thick, and dark to light. It's basically the same logic with pastels. So I start out by using them on the side. This is a brand new one, so it's got like a little ridge on it. Those of you that are here in person, you're going to see me doing a lot of squinting. Okay. And then I have this little tray and with a paper towel in it. So as I work, I'll pull my colors out and stick them in the tray so I don't have to search through the box to see what I just used. The one I just used on this one are Jack Richardson soft pastels. This color's, the other one was more of a violet pink. This one has a little bit more warmth in it. Just like a little, almost like a little orange. I don't know if that shows on camera, but. It's just moving up in the brightness. Rather than drawing every petal, I just am trying to draw the shapes that are connected. Questions? Anybody have questions?
Just a moment, please.
What is your favorite brand of pastel pens, not pencil, stick that you like to use?
Well, right now it's really these earthberry, but that's all. Well, I only have this and some muted ones. I don't know. I like those. I like the Richardsons. I like Blue Earth. Do you do pastels? Yeah, blue. Have you tried the Blue Earth?
No, but I have some earthberry and they are fantastic.
Aren't they lovely?
They're wonderful.
Yeah, I like them a
Yeah.
lot. I'd like to get all of them.
Yeah, tell me about it. To take out a look.
It takes a long time to get them coming
Yeah.
all the way from Russia.
Yeah, they take a while, but they're like, okay. Thank you.
Okay, this, I'll try to just, as I'm working on them, talk about what they are, which brand, just because why not? These are J. Luda, and I think they're from Romania, I think. A couple, like Earthberry and J. Luda sent me some if I, just to try if I would promote them on social media. I did a reel with the Blue Earth.
Again, I'm unfamiliar with
Okay,
pastels.
that's all right.
Is it like a oily, chalky substance, or is it
No
more like
oil.
crayons or
No, there's no oil in them. They're
No.
very dry. It's more like
chalk?
very, very, very soft chalk.
Very-
It's ground pigment. It's pure ground pigment. So it's basically dry paint. And then they add a binder to it, I think gum arabic, to hold it in its shape. And some of them have a little pumice. I believe that the earthberries that we're talking about are you can feel the pumice in them. So when you use them, they almost like they make a scritchy sound as it's kind of carving into the surface.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's starting to look like something. Okay. I do this a lot where I will hold them up and kind of compare, trying to get the color close.
While we're looking at that reference photo, Pam, someone is asking what type of device your reference photo is on. Is
It's
that
an iPad.
It's just an
Yeah.
iPad.
Sorry to put my arm in front of them.
And where did you get the pencil pouch that you're
Dick
using?
Blick.
Dick Blick.
Mhm. Yeah, they roll up. They roll up real small. This is great for travel. You can use them for any kind, like if you just do colored pencils, it's great for that too.
Right. And can you repeat about the pods? What are the pods you used with brushes? I think those were the pan
Oh, the
pastels.
pan
Is that
pastel.
correct?
Yep, pan pastels.
Thank you.
And I recommend, I mean, you can get them by set, but to me, I wished I hadn't. I wished I had just bought them all individually from the beginning, because a lot of times you'll get colors that are so garish, you're like, I'm never going to use these colors. So I think it's better to go, Dick Blick carries them in their store, just go in person and pick them out. All right, I'm trying to go darker here. A little bit too dark. Okay. All right, now I'm going to start, put a little dark back in here and there. This one's also a Jack Richardson. I do have my a curated set of Richardson pastels that I worked with them and handpicked the colors, and that's available on through Judson Art Outfitters. And it's just, you can find them under instructor sets, and you just look for my name. I don't do a lot of finger blending, but like here in the background, I don't really want a lot of detail, because I'm trying to create a focal point here. Just kind of keep that scribbly. Go a little bit bigger right here. It's got a little bit more violet in it. It's a little warmer. Darker yet. That's not right. Let's try brown. This one is, I think, a Sennelier. And they're very soft, but they work really good on this paper. It's a kind of a brown color, layering it over these reds. All that there. Can you all hear me okay?
Pam, did you start out as a pastel artist, or was this not your original
No,
medium?
I sort of stumbled upon them. I met another teacher at an event, and she was teaching oil pastels. And I was fascinated. I was sort of familiar with them. I mean, I did in high school and college, I did oil painting and pencil, just graphite. And then I met this woman, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And she says, oil pastel. So I took classes with her for 2 years and then really wanted to compete. But in order to compete in a pastel competition, you have to compete with soft pastels. So I switched medium and I thought, okay, I'm never going back to anything else, which is probably a lie because I probably at some point will start oil painting again. But what I like with them is like right now, my life is still very full and busy, and I watch grandkids and help a daughter out with her dogs and help out my mom. And so I don't have to worry about paint drying on a brush or anything like that. I can just stop and start. I could leave this laying out till next year, and I can just pop back into it or take it out of a frame and rework it. So it just suits my, kind of crazy life.
And someone's asking, how do you blur the lines without using your fingers?
Just by layering them. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, like this, I can just take my pinky finger in there, but if you smudge it too much, it'll get really muddy. And because pastels are so luminous, I don't know, it's probably hard to see. Well, you can sort of see it on the camera too, but I've got all these different layers. There's like, what do I have? 6 different shades of reds. If you start blending them all, they just all mush together, and then you can't, it just defeats the purpose. You lose all that luminosity. And so you'll see me go between the side, and now I kind of am going to the tip because I want to start getting a little detail in here. My plan is to leave the background kind of messy. I want to just, right now there's the illusion that there's other flowers back there, but I don't want to take away from this. Okay, so I'm going to start going in with some of my lighter colors. Sometimes I wait and do the light colors till the very end, but I want to make sure I don't lose them. So I'll kind of put them in there now. Oh, I'm gonna use one of my favorite berries. This is a really pretty kind of a pinky peach. I'm just gonna kind of find where these little brightest bits are. And these I'll just blend just a little bit, not smudge the whole thing, but just kind of work it into the rest of the petals.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Do you pick out your pencils ahead of time because you know what your color palette's going to be? Or you kind of like go with it at the moment? Like I see you grabbing.
I go with it at the moment. I mean, in this case, I had them. I actually, you guys, I did like 3 practices at home, but not of this one. I didn't like any of the other ones, so I'm winging this. But I already had a bunch of reds picked out from another one that I changed my mind on. So I basically just threw them all in the box like a couple hours ago, and then just a bunch of other ones just in case. So I mean, I don't usually pick out ahead of time.
You don't.
Or I'll pick them out and then I'll add like 25 more, on top of it.
And then one other question: do you ever feel there's too many layers of pastel?
Not so much now. When I first started, definitely. There's a couple of solutions for that. Like right now, this is still pretty thin, but if I had too much, you can either take a brush and brush them off, or you can use a little fixative. And I don't like most fixatives, and I don't like fixative at all on my final layer, but Sennelier's is the only one that I use. It just doesn't seem to alter the color. I can't see like the overspray. But so like, if I was at the stage now where I'm like, I'm not near done, but I don't have enough tooth, then you can spray a little of this and you'll be able to get another layer or two. But it's just, I think best to just not have too thick of an application. Or if you have an area, like say I needed this to go bright white, I could brush a little off and still get it to go really bright. Even though I'll still be able to see the red pigment, it brings the tooth back of the paper. So see, I'm using this on its side and at least just like a little bit of, even though these are soft because they're gritty, they're really easy to move around. Like that was too big. I didn't like how big that just got, so I can just remove some. And I'll be able to put some of the pink back on. And I don't know, I don't know if you can see I have aluminum foil in the base of my easel. I don't know if you can see it. You can see it a little bit here on the edge, but that's to catch the pastel dust so that I don't get it all over. Kind of developing the shapes of these. The colors are still going to change. I'm just trying to make a map. Excuse me. If I could use a pencil for this, but if I did, the lines would be very hard and it wouldn't look like a painting. It would look like a drawing. That's something people ask a lot too. Is pastel drawing or painting? I consider them painting because it's the same as any other paint where I'm applying pigment all over my surface.
Excuse me, Pam, is that a white or a pink?
It's a very pale, if I look at it against my tape, or you can't see it, I don't know on the camera. It is a light pink. Oh, I'll put it next to a white so you can see. That's it against white. So it's a very pale, slightly peachy. Yeah, I rarely use white and I rarely use black. I think they're too harsh. I mean, if I absolutely have to, I will, but like I'll use black if I'm doing a pet portrait and I gotta have super black pupils or something. Okay, now that I know where my highlights are, I'll bring in my kind of middle colors. And I'm sure I'm gonna find out I forgot a color that I really needed, because that's usually what happens. Oh, this one is Mountain Vision. Those are really nice too. Also kind of gritty. And I knew that as soon as I started using it, I could tell by the way it feels. You could probably hear that too, though. Scritch, scritch. What I'm doing here is I'm kind of brushing a little of this into the background to give it kind of a soft focus feel. Keeps some of the edges short or soft.
I had a question. What is the advantage of the pumice in this earthberry? You mentioned it's scratchy. What does it add to the
It's sort of
color?
It doesn't change the color, but it like carves into some of the pastel that's already on the paper. It just allows it, I don't know, makes it apply more boldly, I guess.
When you're doing a painting, do you limit the number of colors that you use, like
No.
5 to 7 or 10?
No.
Just as many as you
Yeah,
want?
as many as I feel like cleaning up afterwards. All of them. No, I always think, people are like, oh, use a limited palette. That's really hard with pastels because it's not like paint where I have using 3 tubes of paint, you're mixing them all together. Well, you can't really do that with these. So I just use whatever I have to do to get the job done. I'll kind of show what I've been using so far without spilling them all on the floor. So that's kind of where I'm at so far. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm bringing in now like another pink that's second to the lightest so far. Mostly like in here where I don't want that lighter color, and so now I'm using more the tip of the pastel. So, and liken it to a smaller brush if you were painting. This one's Sennelier. It's very, very soft. So they're really nice for these little, where you want that thicker feel. Kind of tap that and then start getting that texture that you got on the petals, showing that they're slightly ruffled. How many people here in the room are working pastels? Well, quite a few. Yeah, you do. Do some little tap tap. You'll see me kind of move my hand around and I'm not always touching. I'm kind of gauging. I'm studying the photo and figuring out where I'm at. step back for a second and see. Okay, I'm gonna put some of the dark back in, or actually, I have this kind of this one's real sunny. It's like a nice red orange, but I feel like it just gives us a little warmth here and there. Let's put that in some of my highlights. First, it's a brand new one, so I have to, okay. Let's see how this looks. Give it a little sunlight here and there. Okay. Going back into some with my the darker colors I started out with. And here too, I'm more on instead of holding it completely flat, I've kind of lifted it a little bit.
Someone at home is asking, would you use the same technique in Conte crayon?
Yes, but Conte crayons they're a lot harder. They're very similar. Let's see, I have some new pastels. They're really similar, but these are really hard. So it's hard to get that type of layer. Let me grab something that's sort of the right color. I'll make two marks kind of. Can you see this right here? Yeah, I'll make a mark here that I'll cover up later. So this one's hard next to one that's soft. You can't get as intense color with a Conte crayon. Just get rid of that. We'll put some dark green there to get rid of that. Although, this is where if you want to get some little surface marks, I guess it's as good as any. You can't really see this, but I can see it. It's just kind of moves around the pastel that's underneath it. Or if you like, to be able to see the line work. So that would be the same as using Conte crayons. Okay, put that back. Yeah, I don't have enough colors. Okay, I think I'm gonna see if I can introduce some pencils here to. Later. Now, when I use pencils, I'm not going straight down hard, trying to make like a hard mark. I'm gonna use it more, on its side to get like a nice soft, almost using it like a blending tool. So a very light pink. Although there's areas that I'm gonna press, I'm just gonna use it straight like a pencil now. Just here and there where I want some stronger lines.
And Pamela, what is the brand of those pencils that you're using now?
I have Stabilo, Carbothello, and Caran d'Ache. Those are the two. I have others at home, but these are my favorites. For the people listening from home, who lives the furthest away from Chicago?
Let's see, we have Oregon, New Jersey, Michigan, Wisconsin, Virginia,
Wow,
California.
wow. Well, I'm so glad you could all join us here today. Nobody else got questions?
About how long do your pieces take you?
It depends. I mean, this one, I chose what I chose in the paper and a tight crop because I wanted to be able to basically complete it in, an hour and a half to 2 hours. Something like this, 15 years ago, this would have taken me 25 hours, but I've just gotten a lot faster over the years. Life's too busy. I don't have more time than that.
And do you work every day?
No.
How do you know when you're done?
Ah,
And I mean, like, that you've not overdone it.
was I'm not overdone? Who's asking that over there? I mean, if I can't get any more pastels on it, I probably went too far. I don't know. I think it's important to stop before you think you're done because you might be done. I think you have to, I tell my students when you get to, I mean, I still see areas that I need to bring up and I haven't done all the leaves, but say, half an hour from now, I'm like, I may be done. I like to put it somewhere where I can look at it while maybe I'm eating dinner or watching TV where I can kind of glance off to the side and, better determine if I'm done. And then step back plenty so you can kind of see where you're at. Let's see, what color do I want to use this time? I feel like I'm going to bring some warmth in. I'm going to bring in a light yellow for some of these highlights. And just kind of do like some tapping and kind of like little zigzags. I like to roll the pastel around a little bit, get these fun, kind of strong little marks.
Someone's commenting on how delicate the petals look. Do you have any particular tips for achieving that?
I think it's just because I started out big and now it's just by applying the little marks now, it's going to make it look more ruffly. And I'm using a very light touch. This is my favorite part of a painting right now, where I'm just doing these little, I always say it's kind of like decorating a cake for anybody that's done that. You start out and you bake the cake, which would be like the underpainting, and then you put the frosting on. So that's like the next layer. And then if you're going to like make roses out of frosting or work in fondant, that's sort of the stage I'm in now. Just the contrast. I love all these little bright little bits. Broken lines, use broken lines so that it looks more natural.
Someone's asking, are your colored pencils softer than
No,
Derwent Inktense?
I have not used those, so I don't know. Sorry. Are those a pastel pencil, or are they I don't even know if they're even a pastel pencil or if they're just like a colored pencil. Anybody know? When I first started getting serious about pastels, I thought I wanted to do mostly portraits. I love drawing people. But it takes so long. Nobody wants to buy, a painting of my grandkids that aren't related, or my husband. And then commissions are stressful. Or if somebody gives you kind of a not a great photo, I can't do anything good from a photo that's not good. kind of like I was talking about in the beginning, when I choose my own references, if it's not a good photo, don't paint it. So-
A couple folks at home have experience with those Derwent Inktense pencils. They say that they're watercolor pencils, so
Oh,
they're
okay.
they may be harder.
They probably are, but they'd probably be really nice for underpainting underneath pastels. That's one thing with pastels, you can so this would have been, my underpainting would have been the pan pastels, because they're the thinnest and the sheerest of, and the hardest of what I use. Well, not hardest, I guess, but you can use any kind of a wet medium underneath this, as long as your paper will accept wet. I've even done like the water mixable oil paints and just left them really liquidy and let them drip, and then do my pastels over the top of that. Gotta switch to another. Kind of missing piece, maybe this color. That might be too light. It's kind of missing this petal in here. Take a drink so I don't cough. We're getting kind of bolder, chunkier marks in here, going in the direction of the petals. Oh, I need, and then I start seeing other little areas. There's a little too dark. A little fringe here that's kind of a lighter pink. And if you don't get the shape of this right, you just go in with the darker color and you try to fix it. This, I want to bring some of this pink back up in here. So once you got, this is, I've like about 3 layers on here. Once you start getting a decent amount of layers, it's easier that if you need to just blend something a little, you can use just your little finger and just kind of pull that down. You know, to kind of get like a little gradient in there.
Hi, it's me again. Sorry, I just have a lot of questions because I'm kind of just new to doing all this, so this is very interesting. Have you used the velvet paper?
Oh,
The
Hanamula? The velour, yeah.
yeah,
I used
I'm for the velour. Not
okay, I used it once and only once. But I painted these kayaks on there. I was so excited. It looked so good. Well, I'd like to, when I'm done with the painting, I'd like to, you know, give it a good tap. I thought, oh, I'm just going to take it outside, tap it outside. So half the painting fell off. Like it fell right off. And I asked somebody, well, how do you get that around there? Like, oh, you have to kind of burnish it in there. I'm like, one of the things I like about soft pastels is I don't have to press hard. I don't want to, you know, hurt my hands trying to get pigment on the paper. So that once and only once, and then never, luckily I only bought one piece, bought like one giant sheet. I'm like, well, I'm good there.
I've tried it and it is kind of
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it feels nice. It's very, very tactile, but yeah, no. I wasn't very happy about. I think I spent like hours and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I've got a whole handful of light pink colors and you can't be afraid of a little dirt. And by the way, I brought gloves, but I forgot to put them on, so. I really do prefer to use bare fingers anyway, just because I like the feel of these. I think it's one of the things that I like about pastels.
Someone at home says Canson makes a velvet paper
I've
that's
used,
supposed to be equivalent to pastel matte.
I like that paper. I do recommend that one. Yeah, it's relatively new. I don't even mind just regular old meat tints, Canson meat tints, but it's not a good paper if you're inexperienced because you really cannot, if you put too much on that, it doesn't have a lot of tooth to begin with, but I have done some nice paintings on it.
Pam, where do you teach?
At my house in Geneva, Illinois. Had my basement finished a year ago. Took a really nice classroom down there, / gallery. Yeah, we do that on Monday nights, most Monday nights.
And we'll be including the link to your website in the follow-up email. Would those classes be accessible through that website?
Yes.
Good.
As a matter of fact, I have my next session starts the first Monday in April.
Right. So as I said, we'll be sending out the link to Pam's website in the follow-up email tonight. So you'll be able to take a look at that information.
Okay, I'm going to work now on the background a little bit. I'm not going to do a lot with it because I want to keep the focus here. But obviously, I want some of these foliage that's in there. That's sort of, anybody that knows flowers knows that that's a peony leaf. I'm so excited because now I'm going to bring out some of these fantastic little beauties. You hear it scritch, scritch. They're so gritty. I'm just sort of not really drawing, but kind of figuring out where I'm going with these. Just like that, there's leaves. Oh, aren't this so nice? This was a Sennelier, in case anybody wants to know. Um,
Is there anything different that you're doing technique-wise with the leaves as opposed to the petals of the flower?
I'm not layering as much, because I want them to be more loose, because that'll help focus this. This is another one of those earth berries. Good color. Hands a little, once over. Use, if anybody wants to know too, that other artists recommend, these are just water wipes. They're actually like diaper wipes, but there's nothing in them, but they're 99.9% water. So there's no like strong fragrances or chemicals or anything. It's just good for kind of keeping your hands, well, not really clean, but so you don't keep getting all your pastels so dirty.
Pam, can you tell us a little bit about framing, if you frame all of your pieces, and if you don't frame them, how you store them?
I do all my own framing, and the things that I don't frame, I wrap in waxed paper. You can buy glassine too at Dick Blick and spend a lot more, or you could just use regular wax paper, and I just fold it around and stick a little tape on the back, and then I just stack them in a drawer. They'll stay nice and flat, and you can leave them like that forever, but then they don't smear. The biggest thing is you just don't want them to smear. Okay, back to my greens. I think a little bit lighter one.
What medium do you use to sign your work?
Pastel pencil.
Okay.
That's a good question. See, I'm just putting just a couple little marks just to indicate that there's something else going on back there.
And to continue the conversation about framing, someone else is asking, do you use mats with your work?
I have been more recently, for a while there, I was doing a lot of art fairs, and people would, from a distance, would think they were photographs. And I thought if I framed them more like a oil painting would be framed, they would grab more attention. But it seems right now, at least I'm in a gallery in Wisconsin, it seems the preference is for works on paper to be matted. So I'm kind of like this one.
And I think you talked, oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but that one, it's matted. I got, which way do I have to go to make it more square to the, yeah. This is actually float mounted. And I think just gives it a lot of dimension. I love this sweet little frame. But I just feel like it kind of gives it could be contemporary, it could be like modern farmhouse or, so I'm kind of going less with the big black frames and more towards, that style.
And I think you discussed fixative before, but can you repeat if you spray your pieces with a fixative and at what stage you do that?
This one I will not use fixative on because I won't need it. I only use fixative if it feels like the pastel is literally falling off. Fixative is not going to stop it from smearing. Glass does. So that's the whole reason why you frame them under glass. Fixative will darken the colors, and you can sometimes see the little speckles from the aerosol or whatever's in there. And I've ruined too many paintings that way early on. So yeah, if I do, it's because I've lost the tooth on my paper. Also, fixative sometimes can give you like a technique where by putting the fixative on there, you can layer some of your harder pastels over the softer pastels, and it just gets you kind of just this interesting texture. But I don't recommend to ever use it on a final painting myself.
And did you say that you frame the pieces yourself, or
Yeah,
do you
no, I-
buy frames?
Oh, I buy the frames, but I do all the assembly myself.
And where do you buy the frames?
I have an account with Omega Moldings. So most of my frames coming from there because I am a reseller. If you have a tax ID number, you can sign up for account with them. So I'm getting much better prices than retail. But you can buy them from, there's pictureframes.com and Frame Destination. They're in, I think, Texas. But there's all kinds of sources. But I mean, I always recommend that everybody learns how to frame, because if you're trying to sell anyways, if you're not, it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to sell your work, you can't make any money off of it if you're paying somebody $500 to frame your work. Unless you want to charge $20,000 for it, but.
And while we're on the topic of framing, someone else asks, do you use UV glass?
Yes, I use, it's not museum glass, but it's, trying to remember, True View, I think is who I get it from. And mine's 92 or 93% UV, but it's the anti-reflective. So it's really beautiful glass. But I buy it, I have a glass cutter too. So I was lucky to get my hands on a commercial glass cutter for like $300. They go for 3,000 new. So I learned how to use that, and I buy big sheets of glass, not too big, and I cut it myself.
And someone's asking again, what is your favorite pastel pencil and why?
There was one other brand that I bought. I'm trying to remember whose it was, and they were so hard I can't get them to even make a mark on the paper. Plus, the wood on the outside does not really match the lead, so it's not really what you think it's going to be. So I pretty much just prefer these two, the ones I already mentioned, the Carbothello or Stabilo Carbothello and the Heron Dash. Those are my two favorites, but I don't use them a lot. I mean, you saw, I just like quick sketch and I'll sign with it and maybe kind of do a little mark making, but mostly I just prefer to, if I'm going to make a mark like this, I just would rather take my stick and do that. Like if I'm doing a painting of a cat, I do the whiskers with the edge of one of these. I think that sometimes the pencils, once you get a lot of pastel on your paper, they don't even show up. Okay, just a couple little bright sunlight little pieces. This went pretty fast. You want me to slow down? So this is why, the paper that I chose is, it's not black, it's like a really, really dark greenish brown. But it makes the background without me having to apply pigment all over it. And I really like working on dark paper. Let's see. See if there's any place else I need to put maybe a little bit darker in here. I love contrast, so. That was a really dark brown, that's Sennelier also. What's my darkest green? Too dark. Take the wrapper off of this as a Richardson too.
Are there any teachers or other artists that have been particularly influential on your work?
Not locally, but more like nationally. I adore Bethany Fields. I got to know her really well she lives in Texas, but I got to know her really well during the pandemic. Was in a virtual group with a bunch of other artists across the country. I think there were 12 of us. It was just so nice to talk with other people during a time when everybody was stuck at home. And I'm going on a painting trip in France, and she's the teacher that's leading the tour. My work looks nothing like hers, but she's just such a fantastic teacher and artist. Daniel Keyes, wowza, he is just an amazing oil painter. Has recently started doing pastels. And if I could pick one person to paint like, I would probably pick him. There's so many people. I follow all of the, I don't know, well-known pastelists.
And would you mind repeating, someone's asking again, the names of the online frame sources?
Oh, well, I would say just Google. Pictureframes.com I used to use a lot, Frame Destination, but I rarely use either one of them. Mostly I'm using Omega Molding, but you can't buy from them unless you have an account with them, and you have to have a tax ID number. Okay, we got to have some more questions. Okay, what else? What else you guys want to know?
Just a moment.
Hi, I just want to know, how often do you paint?
Oh, not as often as I'd like to. Um, I was for a while painting every day, but I fortunately babysit my grandkids 3 afternoons a week, which I would not trade it for the world. I also help one of my daughters. She's got a bunch of dogs. So on the day she goes into the office, I do run her dogs out for her. And my mom is 86 and having all kinds of health issues. So I spend a lot of time doing things she needs to do. And yeah, life gets in the way. But I figure I've hopefully still got some years. So hopefully at some point.
How many years have you been painting pastels?
Oh, about 13. Soft pastels, 12 years. I started oil pastels 14 years ago. So I guess, it's relatively recent in the grand scheme of things. As I'm just going around here and kind of softening the edges on some of these background petals. Just trying to figure out what else it needs.
Someone at home is asking, will you cover all of the paper with pastel, or
No.
what percentage will you leave?
On this one, I'm almost done. I feel like if I do much more for it, I'm gonna overwork it. Question. Little peanut in here.
When you're doing your photographs, what do you narrow it down to? The contrast colors and
Yeah.
one big
I'm looking
focal
for
point?
I'm looking for light. If I don't see, great light on something, I'm not going to bother. Like any kind of flowers, I always look for there to be sun. I like to take pictures of. I'm going to use flowers specifically since that's what I'm painting later in the day, like in the evening when the sun is warmer, not ever in like the brightest part of the day, because it'll just, the light parts are all going to blow out and you won't get the cool shadows. This one, I probably took this picture maybe at, I don't know, after supper. But I mean, would have been May because they're peonies, but yeah, just the light was warm.
You mentioned how long you've been working with pastels. How long have you been teaching?
Oh. Officially, regularly, maybe 5 or 6 years. Well, no, I was teaching before the pandemic, so maybe 2018. I did a couple of like little demos and stuff for art leagues before that, but that'll stop the tickle in my throat.
Back to framing for a minute. Are the cone flowers under glass?
Yes. It's good
Lovely.
glass. It's
Thank
good glass.
thank you.
You can kind of tell if it's like an anti-reflective glass, because it'll be kind of a blue. When you do see a glare, it's usually kind of blue. The tulip's really the only one. That might be regular glass on that one. But I know the other three are all under the anti-reflective glass.
What was the paper you used for the coneflowers? You said you started with watercolor.
That's UArt, because I can see the cream color on the edges. And so the UArt, it comes in dark, but this is most people know the oatmeal color. It's called sand. But it's, where's it? I know most people watching probably know what that is, but it's, yeah, that's what that was. You can see the color right there on the edge. And so the color of it, and this paper will take, you can put anything wet on it. Wash, watercolor, like a water crayon. Karen Dosh makes the aquarel or something. But you can use those even, anything that you can wet and dry. And then you put the pastel. You just have to make sure it's dry when you put your pastels over the top.
Someone else is asking, how do you sell your art? Like, what forums do you use?
Well, I was selling them mostly at art fairs. And the last couple of years were just not super great for me locally. For anybody that lives in the Chicago area, we're very oversaturated with art fairs. And there's an art fair every weekend somewhere. So I started doing a show in Iowa, which a one-day show, I would do better there than I would at like a whole weekend here. But it's just time prohibited to take all your stuff out of state. And then I tie up my husband's time. And so, the social media is really important. So with, of course I have a website, but people aren't going to just happen upon your website. You have to drive traffic there. So you kind of need to have a big social media presence. My Facebook page was hacked about a month and a half ago, and I'm still fighting with them to try to get that brought back up, because that definitely impacts my business. I could have been done already, but since we have time, I'm just gonna keep overworking it.
Hi, what gallery are you in Wisconsin?
Edgewood Orchard,
What town is that?
Fish Creek.
Oh, Fish Creek. Oh, you're up in Door County.
Yeah, Door County.
Oh, have you ever done anything in Paoli, Wisconsin? It's out south of Madison. It's a
No.
very artsy town, lots of
I've never even
galleries.
heard of it.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to write that down so I
will.
can check it out.
It's a great little gallery down there. Thank you.
Someone's asking, where in Iowa, you mentioned the
Marion, Iowa. It's small town, but it's kind of centrally located between Iowa City, Dubuque, and Cedar Rapids. Yeah, but it's a really nice show.
And do you plan on going back then?
Well, yes, not this year because I will be in France painting. Which sounds like way more fun than dragging my pastels all over. My pastel paintings, my actual pastels they're going to France with me. bucket list item. I don't know. I think we're back on, you guys. I don't know. Can't see.
Okay. Any last questions? While you're thinking, just a reminder that we will be sending out some links in the email tonight, and then within about a week, the recording will be available. So if you registered, you will receive a second follow-up email from me that has the direct link to the recording for you to watch again or share with a friend. And again, that will have the website and everything in it as well. But thank you so much. And thank you to the DuPage Art League
Thank
for
you.
arranging this.
Thanks everybody at home too for viewing.